What if the man who broke baseball's color barrier, the player who carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders, never got the chance to build his legend in Brooklyn? It's one of the most powerful what-ifs in sports history, because Jackie Robinson wasn't just a ball player. He was a symbol of hope, courage, and change. In 1947, when he stepped onto the field for the Brooklyn Dodgers, he didn't just play baseball, he challenged an entire system of segregation. But imagine if that story went differently. Imagine if a single decision, a trade, a refusal, or an act of injustice, took away his platform before history could be made. Let us step into that alternate timeline, a world where Jackie Robinson's Dodgers legacy never existed. It's the spring of 1947. Branch Rickey, the visionary general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, is under immense pressure. He knows signing Jackie Robinson, a black player from the Negro Leagues, will ignite controversy, but he also knows it's time to break the barrier. In our real timeline, Rickey stood firm. But here, in this darker alternate version of history, he hesitates. The public outrage, the media backlash, the threats from other owners, it all weighs heavily. The Dodgers board grows nervous. They pressure Rickey to wait just one more year. The experiment, as they call it, is delayed. Jackie, who had just spent an incredible season with the Montreal Royals, waits anxiously. He's ready. His glove is sharp, his bat quick, his mind calm. But as the 1947 season begins, the Dodgers' call never comes. Instead, Jackie is quietly told to stay patient. The message hits him like a fastball to the chest. Days turn into weeks and then months. In this alternate world, the Dodgers choose safety over courage. Instead of breaking the color line, they sign another white infielder to fill the roster spot. Jackie Robinson remains in limbo, too good for the minors, but still locked out of the majors. The ripple begins immediately. Without Jackie's debut, the door to integration stays closed. The Negro Leagues remain isolated. Legends like Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, and Willie Mays wait longer to be recognized. The press moves on, and the moment, that spark of progress, fades into uncertainty. America keeps waiting for its breakthrough hero, but he's still standing on the outside looking in. By 1948, frustration builds inside Jackie. The man who once believed in patience and faith now faces bitterness. The Dodgers, sensing the growing tension, trade his rights to another team, the Boston Braves, who have no real intention of promoting him. It's a move meant to silence headlines, to bury the story before it reignites. Jackie Robinson, the man who could have changed everything, is effectively erased from baseball's biggest stage. He's sent back to the Negro Leagues, where he dominates again, but this time, his performances feel hollow. The crowds cheer, but the dream feels distant. The media stops asking questions. Baseball's color barrier remains untouched, and in the halls of MLB power, owners quietly congratulate themselves for keeping the game stable. Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, the Dodgers move forward without him. They win games, even make playoff runs, but something feels missing. The team lacks identity, purpose, that deeper story that connects them to something greater. The city of Brooklyn, a melting pot of working-class families, never gets its hero. In real history, Jackie Robinson became a symbol for every underdog in the borough. Without him, the Dodgers never become America's team. They're just another ball club. By 1950, the national mood shifts. Civil rights tensions rise. Without Jackie's breakthrough, baseball, America's pastime, remains a reflection of its divided society. The Negro Leagues start to fracture. Talented young players like Hank Aaron and Ernie Banks are forced to choose between staying in segregated leagues or abandoning their dreams altogether. Some leave for opportunities overseas, to Cuba, to Mexico, to Canada, where they can play freely. Baseball's golden era begins to fade before it ever truly begins. And Jackie Robinson? His story takes a different turn. In 1950, disillusioned and exhausted, he retires from baseball. He becomes a businessman, an activist, and a voice for change, but his impact never reaches the same level. Without his platform in Major League Baseball, his influence is limited to speeches and newspaper columns. He fights the same fight, but the world isn't listening in the same way. History remembers him as the man who almost broke the barrier. The phrase stings, almost. Because in this reality, the story of courage was replaced by hesitation, and hesitation became regret. But history doesn't exist in isolation. Every lost legacy creates ripples. In this world, without Jackie's inspiration, a young Muhammad Ali grows up with fewer heroes who look like him. Martin Luther King Jr. references different symbols of equality. The integration of sports, basketball, football, even the Olympics, all slows down. America takes longer to confront its demons. The Jackie Robinson effect, the unifying force that came from one man's bravery, is gone, and the nation feels colder for it. On the baseball field, the absence is even clearer. Without integration, the quality of play stagnates. The greatest talents, Gibson, Page, Campanella, Aaron, never fully get to test themselves on the biggest stage. The MLB records, stats, and legends we celebrate today look completely different. There's no Dodgers dynasty of the 1950s, no miracle moments at Ebbets Field, no boys of summer. The Yankees dominate unchecked, and baseball becomes less about hope and more about hierarchy. The fans notice. Attendance dips. The game that once united America becomes a mirror of its division. By 1955, a broken, older Jackie Robinson sits in the stands of a Negro League game in Kansas City. The crowd is smaller than it used to be, the cheers quieter. He watches a young player wearing number 42, his old number, stepping into the batter's box. The kid reminds him of himself, determined, fearless, ready to change the world. Jackie leans forward and smiles faintly. He knows the torch has to be passed, even if his chance was stolen. He begins mentoring younger players, teaching them discipline, resilience, and pride. They can delay you, he says, but they can't define you. Years later, the tides finally shift. The civil rights movement explodes. Baseball, shamed by public opinion, finally integrates, nearly a decade too late. But by then, Jackie is in his 40s. His time has passed. The players who come after him, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Frank Robinson, still call him the pioneer who never got his shot. They honor him not for what he did, but for what he endured. His story becomes a warning that history isn't inevitable. Progress requires courage, and when courage falters, the consequences echo for generations. By the 1960s, the Dodgers franchise, long since moved to Los Angeles, reflects on the decision that changed everything. Branch Rickey, older and regretful, admits in an interview, "We lost more than a player. We lost a moment that could have changed the soul of the game." The image of Jackie Robinson in a Dodgers uniform, the one the world should have seen, becomes baseball's greatest what if. In this world, his number 42 isn't retired across the league. It's worn by dozens of players who don't know its significance. The cultural unity that came from his courage, the day every player, black and white, wore 42 in tribute, never happens. And yet, even in this alternate world, Jackie's spirit endures. His fight doesn't end with baseball. He becomes a political figure, a civil rights leader, a man who forces America to face its conscience. Maybe he doesn't have the roar of Ebbets Field behind him, but he still speaks truth to power. His legacy shifts from sports to activism, from the diamond to the streets. And maybe, in a poetic way, that makes his voice even stronger. Not remembered for what he played, but for what he stood for. Still, when we return to our real timeline, the contrast feels profound. We remember the image of Jackie Robinson stealing home, the roar of the Brooklyn crowd, the symbolism of that number 42. It reminds us that courage, at the right moment, can change everything. That one man's stand can rewrite not just the history of a sport, but the soul of a nation. Because if Jackie Robinson's Dodgers legacy had been stolen, baseball wouldn't just have lost a player, it would have lost its heart. And maybe, just maybe, America would have lost a piece of its own.